Hugh, you have 6 more seconds to tell us something about keeping it real starting now.
And my companion said, no, I think that is a real reel. He was full of puns, Mike.
Right. Hugh, you were speaking as the whistle went, and you gained that extra point. And the situation now is, you're still in 4th place. But you're moving forward. No, you're not. You're in 3rd place. Shappy's one behind you. Due to begin the next round. Oh, a lovely subject. I don't know if it's up your street or not. Salvador Dali. Do you know much about him? If not, try. And this game, starting now.
I've always been impressed by surrealists. And Salvador Dali, with his extraordinary moustache, is, of course, one of the foremost of this particular...
Shappy challenge.
Hesitation.
There's a definite hesitation. So, Shappy, you have 49 seconds to tell us something about Salvador Dali starting now.
I know a fascinating fact about Salvador Dali. He had a brother, also called Salvador, who died before he was born. So they called their second child Salvador. And when the Salvador that we know, the artist, was 5, they took him to the first sibling's grave and said, "You're a reincarnation of this child." No wonder he went bonkers.
Jason, you've
of the word child.
Yes, you talked about child, yes. So, Jason, well, listen, and you're getting the hang of this game, aren't you, now? And you have another correct challenge. 27 seconds are available. Salvador Dali, starting now.
I've never been a big fan of Salvador Dali. I much prefer the work of Rolf Harris. And maybe even Neil Buchanan off of ITV's Art Attack from when I was a child. I don't really like art in general. I think most of it is a tiny bit pretentious, and I've occasionally put something on my wall of a picture maybe that the child has...
Paul challenge.
Well, we're not really on the subject of Salvador Dali. We've moved off, we haven't mentioned Salvador for some time. We've had Rolf Harris.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a correct challenge. You have gone off onto art in general and not Salvador Dali in particular.
I was going to come back to Salvador Dali because I've got a few facts about him, but...
It's a shame this show isn't called Just an Hour, isn't it? It is a shame. It's a shame.
We give the benefit of the doubt to Paul, and if I can redress the balance, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt sometimes.
Yes, he will,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And there are 8 seconds still, Paul.
How many?
8 seconds.
Oh, right.
Salvador Dali starting now.
Salvador Dali was hired by Alfred Hitchcock to do the dream sequences for Spellbound, and what a fantastic movie it was. Salvador got hold of the huge concept.
Right. And so Paul Merton was then speaking as a whistle and gained that extra point, and he has increased his lead at the end of the round. Jason Manford's following, just a few points behind, and then equal in 3rd place are Hugh Bonneville and Shappy Kosandi. And Jason, we're back with you to begin, and the subject now is going to the cinema. 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
I'm not a massive fan of the cinema. I don't like sharing the experience with...
Well, you wouldn't like Spellbound. You've got Salvador Dali in it, and it's also a film. So don't go and see that, whatever you do. Handing out tips.
Yeah, it was quite good.
It wasn't that good, was it?
No, it wasn't worth a bonus point.
No, I said it as if it was good.
Jason, an incorrect challenge. You still have the subject. 56 seconds available, starting now.
The thing with the cinema is it's a lot of people, and I don't really enjoy the whole experience of sharing this thing on the screen. What I find...
I'm really sorry, but you said sharing. You don't like sharing things earlier.
Yes, you didn't like sharing before.
I still don't.
If you don't like going to cinema and sharing the experience with all those people there, how do you feel about this lot here?
Yeah, I don't like it, you're right.
Shappy, you had a correct challenge. You have the subject of going to the cinema. 46 seconds starting now.
I don't like going to the cinema because it makes me into the type of person that I don't wish to be. I become the person that hates tall people.
Hugh, you challenged.
Repetition of person?
Yeah, well listened to you. Yes.
I'm really into persons this evening.
Yes, a repetition of person will listen to you, and you have 36 seconds. You tell us something about going to the cinema, starting now.
One of my earliest memories of going to the cinema was the ABC in Lewisham, on the high road there. And this particular occasion, there was a James Bond film, and I was always fascinated by this particular brand of movie. It was an A, as far as I was concerned, which meant that my elder brothers and sisters could, in fact, take me with them. I was about 8 at the time, you see, and they said that they couldn't take me because it was, in fact, a double version of that letter that I mentioned. And in the old system, of course, that meant you had to be 14 and over. And my siblings were not prepared to...
So Hugh Bonneville kept going till the whistle went, gained that extra point. And he has moved forward. He's still in 3rd place, but he's moved. And Paul... No, there's only 1 point behind them all. Paul, the subject, the 5th Beatle. Tell us something about that fascinating subject, starting now.
Candidates for the 5th Beatle over the years have included Brian Epstein, the manager, George Martin, the producer. There was a gentleman called Stuart Sutcliffe, who was also in the Beatles when they played Hamburg, so he has a claim to that title. The 5th Beatle. If we look at the people that were instrumental in the success, and no pun intended, of the aforementioned pop-beat combo, they were indeed lucky with the people they were surrounded by. Of course, there was an innate talent within the quartet themselves, but without the right handling and management, that alone is not enough. When we look at the magnificent recorded legacy of those 4 guys from Liverpool, we realise that we were listening to great musical genius that we have very rarely...
Shappy, you challenged.
I wouldn't say genius. I'm not a massive fan.
Of the Beatles?
You're not touring Liverpool anytime soon, are you?
I didn't realise it was a controversial stance to take, but the Beatles were quite good at pop songs.
No, I think everybody would accept the Beatles. I mean, they are.
I'm not saying I don't accept them. I'm not saying that they should be struck off history, but it's just the way Paul was saying their genius, I felt like he was speaking for everyone in the room, and I just wanted to say that I enjoy bopping to them in my kitchen, but I don't think they were genii.
I think there's a long, involved and rather ridiculous explanation of why you challenged. So, Shappy, Paul had an incorrect challenge. He keeps the subject, the 5th Beatle. 15 seconds, Paul, starting now.
If we look at the legacy of that group...
yes, Jason.
Repetition of legacy.
You had the legacy before,
Yeah, it's
yes.
a long time ago, I couldn't remember.
So, Jason, a correct challenge, 13 seconds still available. The 5th Beatle, starting now.
John, Paul, Ringo, George, they were the 4. Who is the 5th Beatle? Pete, Michael, Johnny, Phil...
Paul challenge.
Who was Michael?
Michael, he was a neighbour of John Lennon's.
He was a roadie. Wasn't he a roadie?
It wasn't Michael, anyway.
I know it wasn't.
No,
Right.
It wasn't Michael. No.
Paul, you have another point, and you have 3 seconds to go on the 5th Beatle, starting now.
What a load of rubbish. They couldn't write a decent hit between them. I don't know why people listen to the Beatles. They're nonsense.
So Paul Martin was then speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point. He has increased his lead at the end of that round. He's just ahead of Jason Manford, and then it's Hugh Bonneville and Shappy Cosandi in that order. And Shappy, we'd like you to begin the next round. The subject here is cats or dogs. Tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now.
Cats or dogs? I have both. My cat keeps it real. My dog is a drama queen. People say to me, which one do you prefer? I say I love both of them equally as I cuddle my cat and kick the dog. I do enjoy the dog. He's a mixed breed, although he prefers dual heritage. What I enjoy about cats is that they are independent. My cat will go roaming for days on end, stagger through the cat flap at all hours, eyes all kaleidoscopy, and I will dare to ask where Madam has been, and like a recalcitrant teenager, she will go, what, I was out, what of it? And march off to her room and listen to her music.
Paul challenge.
Repetition of what?
Yes.
I'm surprised no one came in quicker.
No.
Paul, you got in with 14 seconds.
Are we letting the fact that she kicks her dog go? Is that fine? Is that fine?
Dog's a Beatles fan, and you've never really forgiven him, have you? Eleanor Rigby, go and get out.
No, I would have given it to you on that, because I
Yeah.
think that's deviation, kicking your dog.
OK.
Right. Paul.
Yes.
Correct challenge. 14 seconds. Cats or dogs starting now.
Well, if we look at the various characters of two species of animals, we see that cats are independent and dogs help the police. So I think it's very obvious out of these two particular kinds of creature which one I prefer. It is...
We enjoy it when you slip into one of your character voices.
Yes, it worried me. I don't know what to do. That sounded like.
It sounded a little bit like Alec Guinness.
Yes.
But you were speaking of the whistle when gained that extra point, have increased your lead, and Hugh Bonneville, we're back with you to begin. Now, the subject... It's a little bell which tells me we have time for only one more round. Oh, you are lovely. Right, one more round. Let me give you the situation as we go into the final round. Paul Merton is still in the lead. He's about 4 or 5 points ahead of Jason Manford, who's in a very strong second place. Then it's Hugh Bonneville and Shappy Kosandi in that order. And Hugh Bonneville, we're back with you to begin. And the subject is the local pub. Tell us something about that in this game starting now.
The local pub, I think, is a state of mind as much as it is a physical entity. The first time I entered my local pub, I was short-changed. This happened not once, but 3 times in the period that the landlord owned the property. I'm happy to say that he has moved on, hopefully to a pub in the sky. But, in fact, now the pub is a beautiful environment to visit where I live. It is run by...
Jason, you challenge first.
Hesitation.
Yeah, we call that hesitation. So he went for 32 seconds, though.
Good, very good.
I mean...
We'll get a point for that. Thank you!
So, Jason, correct challenge, hesitation, and you have 28 seconds are still available. The local pub starting now.
My local pub is the roughest place you have ever been to in your life. It's on the corner of an estate, a lawless place with...
Yes, Shappy.
With a
hesitation,
yeah,
yes.
hesitation.
So, Shappy, we're going to hear from you as well on the local pub, and 23 seconds are still available, starting now.
The local pub is a cosy place where everyone knows your name and no one minds that you've been in there all night as long as you get the drinks in. And hardly anyone bats an eyelash that your wife and children are at home waiting for you and you are drinking the money that probably should have been used for food for the said family members. But that's okay because you're holding court in the local pub and you're a card and you're a...
So, Shappy Kosandi was then speaking as the whistle went and brought this show to a wonderful climax in great style and panache. And she's now equal in 3rd place with Hugh Bonneville and did very, very well. Congratulations, Hugh.
Thank you.
And, but you were 3 points behind Jason Manford, and Jason was 5 points behind Paul Merton. So we say, Paul, you are our winner today. So it only remains for me to say thank you. A final thank you to these 4 fine players of the game. And it's goodbye from this delightful audience here at the Television Centre. It's goodbye from me, Nicholas Parsons. Do join us the next time we play Just a Minute. Yes. Hugh, you have 6 more seconds to tell us something about keeping it real starting now.
And my companion said, no, I think that is a real reel. He was full of puns, Mike.
Right. Thank you. You were speaking as the whistle went, and you gained that extra point. And the situation now is, you're still in 4th place. But you're moving forward. No, you're not. You're in 3rd place. Shappy's one behind you. Due to begin the next round. Oh, a lovely subject. I don't know if it's up your street or not. Salvador Dali. Do you know much about him? If not, try in this game, starting now.
I've always been impressed by surrealists. And Salvador Dali, with his extraordinary moustache, is, of course, one of the foremost of this particular...
Shappy Janis.
Hesitation.
There's a definite hesitation. So, Shappy, you have 49 seconds to tell us something about Salvador Dali starting now.
I I know a fascinating fact about Salvador Dali. He had a brother, also called Salvador, who died before he was born. So they called their second child Salvador. And when the Salvador that we know, the artist, was 5, they took him to the first sibling's grave and said, "You're a reincarnation of this child." No wonder he went bonkers.
Jason, you've
Repetition of the word child.
Yes, you talked about child, yes. So, Jason, well listened, and you're getting the hang of this game, aren't you, now? And you have another correct challenge. 27 seconds are available. Salvador Dali, starting now.
I've never been a big fan of Salvador Dali. I much prefer the work of Rolf Harris and maybe even Neil Buchanan off of Mike TV's Art Attack from when I was a child. I don't really like art in general. I think most of it is a tiny bit pretentious, and I've occasionally put something on my wall of a picture maybe that the child is...
Paul, challenge.
Well, we're not really on the subject of Salvador Dali. We've moved off. We haven't mentioned Salvador for some time. We've had Rolf Harris.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a correct challenge. You have gone off into art in general and not Salvador Dali in particular.
I was going to come back to Salvador Dali because I've got a few facts about him, but...
It's a shame this show isn't called Just an Hour, isn't it? It is a shame. It's a shame.
We give the benefit of the doubt to Paul, and if I can redress the balance, I give you the benefit of the doubt sometimes.
Yes, he will, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the 8 seconds still, Paul.
How many?
8 seconds.
Oh, right.
Salvador Dali starting now.
Salvador Dali was hired by Alfred Hitchcock to do the dream sequences for Spellbound, and what a fantastic movie.